And hello, South Florida. Welcome to the Wednesday edition, which means it is the midweek edition of the Real Estate Show, which is when we do our midweek report. We got a great show for you today. Hey, what if you didn't have to worry about money, right? What if money were no object, as people like to say? And that's what's been the theme of the Real Estate Show this entire week. And we started off about talking about that whole concept of, would you be doing what you're doing right now if money were no object? In other words, you didn't have to worry about who was paying your monthly bills, food was paid for, housing was paid for, transportation was readily available without you having to think about, is it in my budget? Can I do it? Et cetera, et cetera. And it's been a kind of a fun conversation. I've got some great feedback from our listeners. Remember, you can contact the Real Estate Show a number of different ways. Number one way is on our website at automaticlandlord.com. There's a place for you to send comments, feedback, and everything. The number two way is you can message me on our Facebook page for the Real Estate Show. And at facebook.com/The Real Estate Show, you can like us, love us, share us, and you can send us your comments either by instant message or right there on the page. And some of the feedback I got was that very esoteric conversation this week. We kind of departed a little bit from the nitty-gritty conversation about real estate itself, what to do, and started talking about. But if you really think about it, and it's not sneaky, this is really a conversation about real estate. And when you do real estate the right way, and employ the automatic landlord method, and that's what we talk about every single show here. We're talking about the automatic landlord method. If you do it to the point where you do create that ongoing, passive, never-ending, always increasing income stream, you can reach a certain point where, step one is to get it going, validate the concept and understand it. Step number two is so that you have enough money that makes a difference, right? That now you see that there's the possibility and the potential. Step number three is to equal what you're bringing in from your active income coming in from your passive income. This, my friends, is a wonderful day. And when you see the realization that you could literally at that point in time call in well, and that's one of my favorite, is that, what do you mean, Eric, call in well? You can call in to your boss and say, well, I can't afford to come to work every day because right now I'm earning as much money from passive real estate as I am from my active job. And if I took the time that the job is taking away from me and employed that for more passive recurring income, I could absolutely change my life. And then you could get to the point and ask the same question, which I started out this week with, was asking, what if you didn't have to worry about money? And so every day of the week, we look at the question of the week from a little bit different angle. Mondays is Mondays on a mission. We talk about the definition. We talk about the concept and explain it, break it down a little bit. And then Tuesday, we go from the conceptual to the practical, and then we kind of break that down. And I talked about, there was 5 different ways that you could actually not have to worry about money, right? And I talked about, you could be the Lucky Diaper Club. And I was talking to Jordan yesterday, and sometimes I even he surprises me, I should say. But I get surprised at the level of comprehension, and that, I'm trying to explain things on a basic level, and then he feeds it right back to me. Cause he was asking me, I said, you can inherit it and be part of the Lucky Diaper Club. And he goes like, what do you mean by the Lucky Diaper Club? And when I explained it, it's that you were born into money and that you didn't have to work for it. And I said, that wasn't you. And he goes, well, maybe I am, and that was kind of neat because he got it, that he doesn't have a concern whether a dollar comes in or a dollar doesn't come in. He's, his main job right now, his sole focus is to get good grades in school and do well so that he can decide whether he wants to be an entrepreneur, a policeman, whatever he wants to be. So the second way we talked about is you could win the lottery. By the way, method number one is you could be born into it. You either were or you weren't, right? It's not something that you have any control over, and either it happened or it didn't, right? And I guess I could add one, and I wasn't on my list, but you could marry into it, right? You could, if you weren't born into it, you could marry. Now you have some control in it, and there may be some big sacrifices that you might have to make or be willing to make if that's your strategy. Don't recommend it. Then the second one that I talked about was the lottery. And again, you really don't have control. If Florida lottery is 1 in 14 million chances, the odds that you can do anything, even well, you can do one thing that you must do. You must play to win. If you're not playing, then you're not going to win, and that's 100% of the time. And so I guess you could do that part, but when your chances are 1 in 14 million, I got better options, better alternatives for you. And I'm seeing the thumbs coming up. Hey, Simone, how are you? Zach, how's it going? On our Facebook Live. And this is what I love about it being more interactive. I get to know at least some of you. Most of you are listening out there on the airwaves, and I don't get to see you. But certainly come check in, even if afterwards, and you want to like or send a comment on our Facebook page. It's a great idea. Or go to our website again, automaticlandlord.com, and I can get that feedback as well. But so at least the beginning part is you got to start with the you gotta play for it to pay, and from everything else, you really have to. The third way I talked about is you could be on social welfare of some sort, whether it be welfare or some other state or government program. And there's a lot of conversation today in the media and everywhere else about more people wanting to be taken care of by the government. Or whether the government should be taking care of people who are otherwise physically and mentally capable of, providing for themselves. And that's a whole other conversation. But I will tell you that while you do have some input on that, either you can get up and go do something, or you can not do something and basically accept what the government provides. But the government has never been famous for providing much. And certainly not at the level where I think, if you were born in the Lucky Diaper Club, good for you. God bless you. Go have some fun. If you happen to be lucky enough to marry into, the Lucky Wedding Club and you're happy, go have fun. God bless. And that's great. If you happen to win the lottery and that's your blessing, good luck, go have fun. So far, I think everybody in those first three categories are having fun. I will probably be surprised if you're in category of some sort of social welfare, if that's a go be happy for the rest of your life situation. I don't think anybody who's on it really wants to be on it as a lifestyle choice. Then the next choice, moving on, is the idea of owning your own business. And we talked yesterday and when we're talking about the practical terms about the cash flow quadrants, and there's really 4 quadrants that everybody falls into. Either you're in the E quadrant, which is the employee. That means you're trading dollars for hours, and whether you make $10 an hour or $10,000 an hour, there's only so many hours that you can possibly work. And so your income is finite. And that's number one, you are trading your time for that income. In other words, if you don't trade your time or go to work, then that stops and you're out of that game. That's the E quadrant. Then there's the S quadrant, which stands for self-employed. And the S is really maybe a slightly magnified or I would say probably better paying option than the E quadrant, where I usually work for either a fixed salary or a fixed dollars per hour. Sales, if you're really good at sales, you can multiply those earnings, but you're still trading time for the ability to sell, market or whatever. Where you want to go to is the third quadrant, which is the business quadrant. And as I explained yesterday in yesterday's show, remember, all of these shows are recorded. You can go back and listen to each one of these shows on our website at automaticlandlord.com. If you want a transcript of our shows, or you want to get anything, you can type the word discovery and text it to our dedicated text line, 561-861-2366. This is one of those you want to put in your phone and keep it. Tag it under the real estate show at 561 area code 861-2366. And then the option there, let's flip houses, not burgers. And see, there you go. John, John Testrin, one of our regular listeners and one of the best contractor handyman in town. I'll tell you, he and I had a very fun and interesting conversation, as we do from time to time, where you have two choices. If you want to go in the E quadrant and flip burgers, X dollars per hour, or you can go to the B quadrant, be in a business for yourself. And in which case we were talking about flipping houses instead of flipping burgers. Much better, because now you create a system. And you don't have to be the guy painting every single house and hammering every house. When you create a crew, a team that goes in, and you can have several houses going at the same time. So now my income is no longer linear, dollars per hour. It is now based on a system. And in fact, if you do the system the right way, and like we talk about with the automatic landlord method, it is a system that if you plug and play this system, technically you should be able to plug and play, walk away, and the system continues to work and generate the income. Very much like our last option that we talked about yesterday, which is owning property in real estate. And if you own properties in real estate and you have a number of rental properties, you have a manager handling all of those properties, you have steady, recurring, constant, never-ending cash flow that with time will increase with the marketplace. In fact, as we have talked many, many times, real estate is your best hedge against inflation. And so that brings us to our midweek report here today. And guess what the Fed announced today? In fact, I was in the middle of a meeting. I get a flash warning on my cell phone from some of the lending services that I have, telling me to go ahead and lock interest rates in on any outstanding loans. And today was a day, hopefully, if you're in the process of getting a loan, that you got a phone call from your lender saying, hey, if we were floating the rate, and hopefully they're telling you if they're floating the rate, because otherwise you're going to have a surprise next week. But the interest rates just went up. Why? Well, because the Fed announced that the inflation rate in October was the highest in 3 decades. We are now at 6.2 this is on the federal level. Remember last week I was talking about Florida and their 8% inflation. And what's going on in Florida, 15% appreciation. I was talking today to also some folks in Texas, and in Texas, the appreciation rate in the San Antonio area was 22% in the last 12 months. So how's that for a protection against inflation? But having rental properties, not only do I have the properties, so my assets are keeping up with inflation, so too are the rents. And you've heard me having conversations about the increases in rents across the board. I told you when Invitation Homes, the nation's largest individual single-family homeowner, said that they were raising rents across the board 8%. So this is today I got the alert that the Fed announced that the inflation, which is now starting to trouble them, and here we are getting ready to unload another $3 trillion into the marketplace, increase the national federal debt another several $1 trillion in the face of mounting inflation. And one of the questions is, and we'll probably explore this a little bit more as we go along, are we about to enter another 1970s-ish inflationary period? And those of you old enough to remember back in the 1970s, where inflation was in double-digit percentage, we had shortages of all sorts of things. Has anybody heard of any shortages lately? Because of the inflation and obviously the overabundance of, so to speak, cash, but the shortage of actual goods and services. And when you have a government that can, and right now is likely to print more money, that doesn't mean that there's more buying power in the economy. That just means there's more money, but the money itself in general, which represents the buying power, is less, and you've got this inflationary situation going on. Anyway, I'm going to pause right there. I've got a whole bunch of really cool headlines here for our for our midweek report. In the headlines, in spite of the inflation, home prices are now rising much faster than incomes, and that can only go for so long, because if your incomes can't keep up to the home prices, then people will stop buying, and that will be a healthy, mind you. And I think you're going to hear it couched that way. That'll be a healthy slowdown in the price rates increases going on in the real estate market. So for me, actually, that's a good news. Obviously, I think the news will spin it a little bit differently, but we're going to go ahead and take that break. And when I come back, I got a lot of stuff to share with you on our midweek report. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner, and I'll be right back. Man. Hey, Jack, thank you for that nice comment. New listener. I'm very happy with what he's hearing. Welcome. We're here every day, 5 p.m. Not 9 to 5, but at 5 p.m. We're in real estate 9 to 5 and 9 to 5 again and 5 to 9, 24/7. That's what we do. And I'll say this, sort of offline right now, but what if you didn't have to work for money? What would you do? And I would tell you that what I do, providing affordable homes for deserving families, helping people find the right financing, the best financing, showing people how to pay off their mortgage faster than the banks want them to. That is my mission, my goal here. And you'll hear me talking about that. It's been a long time since the radio show is now 22 years old. There were times, long periods of time during the Great Recession and then in the beginning of the pandemic, where it didn't financially make sense to do the radio show. Yet we have kept the radio show going because I really honestly believe this is a great way to share this information that isn't readily available to the general public. So Zach says he's ready to flip, and I take it that you mean flip houses, not burgers, right? So we're coming back here. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us here on The Real Estate Show, whether you're listening to us on the AM dial at 1470 here locally in South Florida, if you're on the FM dial, 96.9, 95.3, just a couple of the local FM stations, you can take us with you if you've got one of the free apps, iHeartRadio. Many people know that one, radio.com, the TuneIn app, which I always like to remind people that has an alarm feature in it so that you can actually set the TuneIn app to alert you when it's 5 o'clock, when it's time for the real estate show, and you can be with us here live. Now, you can also hear us live streaming on our website, no matter where you are in the world. So even if you're traveling, you can still tune into the real estate show. If you've got internet access, just go to automaticlandlord.com. Go to the top of the page where it says the real estate show. Click on the drop down. If you're there at our 5 p.m. Eastern time, you can listen to us live. If not, you can just go to the next option, which is listen to any of our archived shows. And we have literally thousands of shows on there. I think there's more content, more good information about real estate and real estate investing on this site than any other site on the internet, period. So kind of a neat thing there. And I'm looking at some of the comments there. Zach saying, my family's been in real estate game for decades. I've just been on the renovation side and definitely flipping houses, not burgers, is a response to an earlier comment that we had in the first half of the show. So if you want to tune in at your demand, on demand, go to automaticlandlord.com, or you can go to our Facebook, which is in chronological order. Every day we record it, posted up there. So yesterday's show was one below this one, and then there's another one the day before below that one. And you can go back also years on our Facebook page where we've got the recordings of all of our past shows. So a lot of times I'll say, I even said this on the radio show, whether I said it a month ago, a year ago, it's all documented. It is there. And you'll see actually how I'm not going to say that I can predict the market, because that's never my goal. But my goal is to know where the next party is, because I want to be there, kind of like what Mario Lemieux would say when he was asked in an interview, how did he become, the league's highest score, record holder, Hall of Famer. And he said that he never skated to where the puck was, but he always skated to where the puck would be. And that's kind of our game here with the real estate. We don't know the future. We can't predict the future, but we can look at all of the information, the data, right? The data. And from there, select what we want to do. For example, today, buying properties at 50, 60 cents on the dollar, which is one style of buying real estate, still works. It still exists, but it is hard. And so the financial gurus are out there that says, yeah, you can buy these properties at 10 cents, 20 cents on the dollar to sell you their course. And they get you all riled up. And then out of town again they are. That's the in and out of town guru that will sell you his course, but give you no support and nothing, and so this radio show is designed to be that gap filler. We are here locally doing real estate, actively participating in today's market, not what used to work once upon a time. And depending on which cycle, maybe, years ago, what's going on right now. And I'm telling you right now that it is a time to be buying real estate in spite of the high prices that we're at. It is a time now, thanks to the very low interest rates. In fact, one of the headlines, borrowers are rushing to refinance as mortgage rates took a drop. Now, that was a headline that was on today. That's before the alert. You're going to see a bump in the rates due to the Fed's release of the recent information about inflation, because why would the mortgage companies continue to maintain low interest rates when inflation is higher than the mortgage rate? You don't have to be a fortune teller or have a crystal ball to know that mortgage rates can't stay that low, because the lenders aren't going to put their assets on the street at below the rate of inflation. Think about that for a minute. That's just plain obvious. It's about as obvious as like what I said before when we were at the low end of the market. Go look at some of my recordings back in 2009 and 2010 when I said this is the time to be getting into real estate, especially because you're able to buy properties at below the cost to construct. When you can buy real estate at below the cost to construct, two things are going to happen. Number one is I can promise you, I guarantee you, and I don't make many guarantees, I guarantee you that real estate will rise above the cost to construct. Because the second thing that will happen, and did, is that they won't build any more real estate when it's more expensive to build it than it is what you can sell it for. And so for 10 years, we had no construction of real estate, which is why we have the inventory shortage going on right now. So just like Jack says here, or Zach says, no gurus for me. I want to actually get in the real estate, not just get excited about it. And that's our position too. So if you want to learn more and you want to contact us, text the word discovery. The word discovery, text it to 561-861-2366. Once again, that's 561-861-2366. Just from the headlines, I didn't even get to dive down into the articles. If you text the word discovery, I'll send you all these links to the articles that I was talking about so that you can read more into it. Anyway, that's it for today. This is Eric Willner. I am your host of the Real Estate Show. I'll be back again, same place, same time tomorrow. And until then, I want you to drive safe and make it a great day. Bye-bye. And there we go. Another show in the can. Oh, I goofed. I'll see you tomorrow.